Ladies and gentlemen, my name is TotalBiscuit. I'm here to ask and answer one simple question. WTF is dead pixels? This is a so-called 8-bit zombie sim from CSR-Studios. Wonderful, yet another zombie game. And in 8-bit no less, combining two of the most pointless things that seem to have cropped up a lot in 2012. But we shall give it a fair shake of the stick, as we do with everything else. Obnoxious color changing. There also appear to be a wide variety of different zombies. I'm pretty sure one of them is Bane. It's interesting, it actually changes the zombie type every time I go through there. That one's on fire, that's unpleasant. You can turn this film grain off, thank God. Like, there's this whole consistent film grain thing going on throughout the game. I imagine it's going to piss a lot of people off. It doesn't go along very well with the 8-bit styling. I don't really see the point. Either you do the zombie game with the film grain, or you do the 8-bit, you don't do both. But I'll leave it on to show you what's going on, and then I can easily turn it off halfway through the video or whatever. So what do they mean by 8-bit zombie sim? Well, you can see the graphics style quite clearly here, so let's continue the game and show you exactly what's going on with it. So, welcome to a store, of which there are several, and inexplicably we have this fairly terrible iteration of that famous track in the background. So, it's a side-scroller in the kind of standard 8-bit NES Master System brawler style where you wander around the place and you shoot zombies and you try to get to the end. And there are many levels in order to make that happen. However, the game does also have some almost RPG-esque elements in the form of upgrades that you can buy here. As you can see, you can upgrade a wide variety of different things. They even actually went to the effort of putting cool little icons. It actually reminds me a little bit of Fallout in that regard, but obviously putting its own fairly unique twist on it, as you can see right there, as opposed to the Vault Boy. What you can also do is you can sell items that you find in the world, and chances are you'll probably find quite a few of them, because the game involves going into houses and searching them for stuff, and then trading them, selling them to get items and things like that. And the interesting thing about it is that the items are fairly limited, so you go to each store and they have a pretty limited stock, and once that's it, well, you're pretty much done, and you've got to move on to the next area. So you can have a look through your inventory, and I don't think I actually have a... I should probably head back in there for a second, because I'm pretty sure I should have bought a medical kit. There we go. I'm going to buy and use that one immediately, and then I'm going to buy that small one right there. Okay. So, aside from that, as you can see, you wander around and you shoot zombies, and it's something like that. You get little damage numbers come up, and you collect the coins that they drop, and the various weapons that you get are reasonably effective, I would say. At least at the start, as you can see. Get a good shot off, then you can take a zombie down pretty quickly. There are a variety of different kind of zombies as well. I'm going to grab this ammunition. Excellent. I can now actually use my Chamber's handgun and my bolt action as well as this. I think this weapon is probably the best one that I've acquired so far. Cost me quite a little bit of zombie blood money. And you've pretty much just seen the game in the first 2 minutes of it, really. It's really quite simple. You have to try and survive the game as best you can, but there are a few elements that make it more interesting than what it otherwise would be. As opposed to, you know, a straight-up zombie shooter. It's the notion of searching houses in order to gather items and then sell those to a trader is quite interesting. The notion that you have a weight limit and an inventory and upgradable stats and things like that also makes it a little bit more interesting. Makes it a little bit more like an RPG than anything else. Now, it would be nice if I could just sell everything in my valuables section. I assume the valuables can just be sold at will. As far as I can tell, that seems to be the case. I believe I have a chamber shotgun I don't actually need anymore, because I believe the Redfield double barrel is just better. Although it does use twice as much ammunition, so not necessarily. Ooh, a Burton Uzi. I would love to get that, but I can't afford it. Valentine Beretta? That might be alright. Now, I have to wonder, does that work the way I think it does? Alright, cool. What I was going to criticize it on was the fact that I couldn't figure out what ammo was for what, but it would appear to be color-coded, as far as I can tell, so I assume these... If I were to buy a box of these bullets and look to the weapons, and I pick up, say, the Valentine Beretta, grab that and equip it. Let's sell my old Chambers handgun, which I'm pretty sure isn't as good. At least as far as I can tell, anyway. It's kind of hard to compare. At least as far as I can tell. Or maybe not, actually. It seems like everything is in red there. So, it's weird, because the interface looks clunky when you take a glance at it. But in reality, it's actually not. It's surprisingly effective for the most part. It looks really odd, but since it's all mouse-controlled, they seem to have covered the vast majority of bases when it comes to dealing with the inventory itself. We'll buy a few more medkits. I think we need some more ammo as well. So the survival element is there in the fact that you are kind of limited in terms of the amount of ammo that you can carry around at any given time. I've stocked up on a reasonable amount right now, so that shouldn't really be too much of a concern for me. But this is also only on normal difficulty. There are way, way more difficult difficulty levels in play, and my hope is that what would happen is you actually do get this kind of genuine zombie survival thing going on, because you have to scavenge houses, you have a very limited amount of ammunition. I've only got 20 rounds for my Beretta here. I do have 84 rounds for my shotty, however, so it's not too tricky. As regards to the music that's going on in the background, it's, well, I don't think it'll be to everyone's taste, certainly, but there's a reasonable amount of effort that's at least been put into actually having a decent soundtrack. And we're going to grab that. We have another trader there. Just sell off that bolt action. See if there's anything the trader specifically wants. Looking for a Chambers handgun. Be willing to pay quite a lot of money for that. Well, I believe I already sold mine. I really want to try and get an upgrade, but I don't actually have much money, so... Any valuables I can sell? A couple of cans of mystery meat. Alright, there we go. So overall, it's actually got a surprising amount of interesting depth to it. The combat's probably the weakest part of it, if I'm totally honest. I'm going to go sell that because I know they're going to offer extra for it. And it's really, really standard point-and-shoot kind of nonsense. And you can strafe up and down, and that's kind of it, you know? There's nothing more complicated than that. You can toss grenades every now and again. Apparently toilet paper is super valuable in the zombie-infested future. Can't really blame them, certainly. Now would be a time to get an upgrade. Alright, what does weapon skill do? Increases damage when shooting. Increasing the amount of things I can carry. Maximum health increase. Let's grab that. There we go. Some extra health. And I'll head on out of here. So, the combat's, it's okay. It's not what I'd call especially satisfying. And I think it's probably down to the way that they've deliberately gone for this whole 8-bit style. And that's what really confuses me the most. Like, why an 8-bit style? Like, how does that actually benefit in any way? Does it actually add anything to the game? In my opinion, no, it really, really doesn't, actually. This doesn't evoke any kind of nostalgic memories for me. And it also doesn't add anything to the gameplay. It doesn't make it mechanically superior to a title that is not in the 8-bit style. And you might think, well, it's just the graphics. Well, no, it's not. It's not about the graphical fidelity. It's about the fact that the game itself, the way that it controls and the way that it moves for the most part, is also done in the whole 8-bit style. And I don't think it helps the game at all. Does it hinder it? Arguably. Would a game like this be better in 3D? Would a game like this be better in like 2.5D with some more modern mechanics in there? It's hard to say, really. Does it add any degree of charm by being in 8-bit style? Well, I don't think so. I really don't think so. I don't really notice anything about the 8-bit style that would suddenly make me turn around and think, oh, you know, what a great thing this is. How fantastic it is that we have something in the 8-bit style once again. A lot of games are coming out these days in the 8-bit style. A lot of them are free as well. And this game doesn't cost a lot of money. In fact, it's only going to set you back in the Steam sale right now, $2 to Australian dollars, €2 or £1.33. So we're not exactly talking about an expensive game here. But I just have to wonder what the 8-bit style is for, and every now and again, we get people argue that the only reason that you'd ever make a game in the 8-bit style is because you're lazy and you suck at making good models and textures and things like that, and you just don't have the talent to make something in anything else. And in this case, you may very well be right. I just don't think the 8-bit style really helps it out in any way, and it also doesn't gel well with anything else, because of the fact that it's got this interesting kind of survival element to it, and RPG-style stats, and searching houses, and everything would just work better if it wasn't 8-bit, you know? That seems to be the way that I would interpret it at any rate. So that's probably the biggest weak point of the game, which is unfortunate because it's also like a headlining feature. It's listed on the thing. It says, hey, this is an 8-bit zombie what's-its-face. Yeah, 8-bit zombie simulator. That's not actually a selling point, though. The zombie simulator part is actually alright. You know, it's legitimately pretty fun. And it's got some really cool elements to it. There's also a ton of content in the game. This is the original campaign, and there's 2 more after that. There's also local co-op, which means that if you happen to have someone on the same machine, you can plug a pad in, and then you can both play alongside each other. Giving a little bit of that Double Dragon vibe, or Contra. But I would actually love to see this game in a more modern format, without the 8-bit nonsense. Even potentially in 3D, maybe, maybe not. I think it's alright as a 2D side-scroller, I don't find the graphic style appealing, and I don't feel it adds anything to the game. In fact, I do think it detracts to a certain degree from it. However, that aside, if you can get past that, then you'll probably have a nice, fun zombie survival experience, because it's deceptive in that it looks just like a straight-up shooter, but it's not. Because of the limited ammo and the economy system and the fact that there's stats to level up and things like that, and that in reality you don't actually have to engage all of the zombies. You can run past the vast majority of them. That actually does make it a zombie survival game rather than a straight-up side-scrolling zombie shoot-'em-up. Add stuff like weight in there, and there's actually a surprising amount of depth involved in it. So I was a little bit shocked to see that they had put far more effort into it, and that the game had far more to it than initially meets the eye. And let's be honest here, it's like a $2 video game. So even if you're put off by the 8-bit stylings of it, it's less than the price of a really terrible burger, so it's hard to argue with that. I mean, even this bit right here, as you can see, I'm not finding anywhere to get any ammo. So suddenly, oh crap, I'm running out of ammo. This suddenly becomes zombie survival. And it really is zombie survival when you think about how zombie survival movies are done. It's more often than not a case of, yeah, you have superior firepower and zombies are dumb, but they'll eventually overwhelm you in way to numbers because there's no way to actually stock up enough resources to take out every sodding zombie in the world. That's what makes zombie survival hopeless. And this actually does give that vibe. And I only just got through that tunnel with like 4 shots remaining for my shotgun. It's pretty cool, actually. You see I'm over encumbered here. I'm going to go to the trader very, very slowly, Oblivion style, in order to try and sell this stuff off. So overall, I'd like to see them do more games like this. I'd like to see them add more elements. I'd like to see them bring the graphic style just a little bit up to date and maybe tighten up the mechanics. Make it so that aiming's a little bit less clunky and silly, and because the whole mouse aiming thing on a 2D plane like that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. But it's not bad, honestly. It really isn't. It looks awful, but it's an appealing game. It's got quite a lot to it, and I think it's probably worthy of your attention, especially considering the distinct lack of high price tag on the whole thing. It's not bad. It's a pretty good zombie game. It's the best zombie game I've played this week. I know, it's not much of an endorsement, is it? It's becoming a bit of a running joke, actually, and that disturbs me greatly. I don't think we need more zombie games, honestly. I think we've had quite enough, but this isn't a bad one. It's not too shabby. It's got some elements that are very appealing, and some elements that very clearly are not. My name is TotalBiscuit, taking a look here at Dead Pixels, currently available on Steam, and I'll see you next time.